Nature. Fraternity comes into being after the sons are expelled from the family, when they form their own club in the wilderness, away from home, away from women. The brotherhood is a substitute family, a substitute woman, alma mater. In puberty rites, the boys are detached from their mothers and given a new mother by initiation. In one of the Chinese secret societies in Singapore, the oath was, "I swear that I shall know neither father nor mother, nor brother nor sister, nor wife nor child, but the brotherhood alone." And one said unto him, "Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without desiring to speak with thee." But he answered and said, "Who is my mother, and who are my brethren?" And he stretched forth his hand towards his disciples and said, "Behold, my mother and my brethren." Initiation is rebirth. By rebirth, birth from one's real mother is nullified. At the marriage in Cana, the mother of Jesus said unto him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said unto her, "Woman, what I have to do with thee?" By being born again, the original sin is canceled. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Birth from the mother is nullified and a new spiritual mother found. Who is my real mother? It is a political question. The two sons of Kings Tarquin and Brutus, the future liberator, were on a mission to the Delphic oracle. A desire sprang up in the hearts of the youth to find out which one of them should be the king of Rome. After the depths of the cavern, this answer, they say, was returned: "The highest power at Rome shall be his, young men, who shall be first among you to kiss his mother." The two sons of Tarquin gave orders that the incident should be kept strictly secret, and so, as between themselves, they cast lots to determine which should be the first, upon their return to Rome, to give their mother a kiss. The liberator thought the Pythian utterance had another meaning. Pretending to stumble, he fell and touched his lips to the earth, regarding her as the common mother of all mortals. In Plato's Republic, the fraternity of guardians are to think of the land they dwell in as mother and nurse. They are to think of their former experience as a dream. In reality, they were the whole time down inside the earth, being fostered and molded, while their arms and all their equipment were being fashioned also. And at last, when they were complete, the earth sent them up from her womb into the light of day. Men of the golden age were earthborn and not born of human parents, a race formed from men, dead and laid in earth, made new in that womb, and they're returning to life once more in a resurrection of the dead. As in Marseille, she is our real mother. Hast thou known how I fashioned thee, child underground? The fraternity is itself the mother. The journey of initiation is ended. It goes from the mother to the mothers, although in reality the young man is henceforth to be separated from the mother. Symbolically, he is brought back to her. The young man is put into a hole and reborn. This time under the auspices of his male mothers, or vaginal fathers. When the initiation starts, the elders tell the boys, we too are friends. They show them their sub-incised artificial vagina, a penis womb. The fathers are telling the sons, leave your mothers and love us because we too have a vagina. Dionysus, the god of eternal youth, of initiation, and of secret societies, was the twice born. Zeus destroyed his earthly mother by fire and caught the baby to his thigh, saying, come enter this my male womb. Male mothers, shield-bearing nurses, the political authority is from Oargio to grow. Margaret Mead tells how an Arapesh boy gets authority over his future wife by growing her with gifts of food. The authorities are authors. They are the nursing fathers of the Old Testament and of the New England Puritan political theorist. From the mothers to the mothers, the transition from matriarchy to patriarchy is always with us and gets us nowhere. All human culture is our alma mater. Every polis and metropolis. What we enter in our initiation is a womb, and stay there, no exit. It is the birth trauma or separation not accepted, and the mind regresses to the time before the separation took place. It is as though we had never been born. The world is our mother. The outside world is the mother's body in an extended sense. If you have chanced to wonder at the frequency with which landscapes are used in dreams to symbolize the female sexual organs, you may learn from mythologists how large a part has been played in the ideas and cults of ancient times by Mother Earth, and how the whole conception of agriculture was determined by this symbolism. From mythology and poetry, we may take towns, citadels, castles, and fortresses to be further symbols for women. Jerusalem, a city, yet a woman. To explore is to penetrate the world, is the insides of the mother. The entry into the world of knowledge and schoolwork seem to be identified with the entry into the mother's body. The child's epistemophilic instincts together with this sadistic impulse, had been directed towards the interior of its mother's body. The whole scene on the water was the inside of his mother, the world. Sadistic fantasies directed against the inside of her body constitute the first and basic relation to the outside world and to reality. In the imagination of the small child, these multiple objects are situated inside the mother's body. The interior of the mother's body becomes the representative of her whole person as an object, and at the same time symbolizes the external world and reality. Geography is the geography of the mother's body. His sense of orientation, which had been strongly inhibited, but now developed in a marked manner, was determined by the desire to penetrate the mother's body and to investigate its inside, with the passage leading in and out of the process of impregnation and birth. Geography, or geometry, as in Finnegan's Wake, Melanie Klein made her discovery by interpreting the gestures of children playing with toys. Already in childhood, symbolic equivalents for the inside of the mother's body are discovered in external objects and toys. Growing up consists in finding new toys, new symbolic equivalences, so that in all our exploration we are still exploring the inside of our mother's body. To explore is to penetrate the world. The world is the insides of the mother. And what the child is doing in the inside of his mother's body is scooping it out. This desire to suck and scoop out, first directed to her breast, soon extends to the inside of her body. Excavation, the child is hollowing out a cave for himself inside his mother's body. We are still unborn. We are still in a cave, Plato's cave. Behold, men live in a sort of cavernous underground chamber with a long passage stretching towards the light all down the cave. Here they have lived from childhood, chained by the leg and by the neck, so that they cannot move and can look only straight forwards, the chains preventing them from turning their heads. At some distance higher up there is a light of a fire burning behind them, and between the fire and the prisoners there is a raised track with a parapet built along it, like the screen at a puppet show which hides the men who work the puppets. The world a cave for Melanie Klein's infants, Plato's prisoners, and Spengler's Magian soul. In the early Christian catacombs and the domes of the cupolas of Byzantine churches, space is experienced as cavernous. The world, a world cavern, a darkness in which the light shines, in which the faithful are concealed, in which the church, like a seed, is buried. Porphyry says that Zoroaster was the first to consecrate a natural cave to the worship of Mithra, the maker and the father of all things, a cave bearing the image of the cosmos which Mithra fashioned. But actually it begins in the Paleolithic caves. Human history begins in caves. Inside the caves are labyrinthine passages. The Paleolithic caves, which revealed or concealed the Paleolithic paintings, are labyrinths of twisting, narrow, slippery corridors and galleries along which intruders have to grope, often on hands and knees, before reaching the hall where the paintings are. Listres needs half an hour's walk through a succession of corridors to the chamber whose principal figure is wholly visible only after the crawl through a pipe-like tunnel and negotiations of a rock chimney with a foot on either side of the chasm. The descent to the labastide is a vertical pit. The cave opens from its inside 100 feet down into another pit that leaves only a narrow ledge by which passage can be made, a vast corridor. Meandering or labyrinthine passages and paths, spiraled mazes actually followed in ritual, initiation, dances, or symbolically represented in ritual objects represent the archetype endeavors of the divine ancestor, the prototype man to emerge into this world, to be born. In the ceremony of the dog totem in northern Australia, a winding path is cut through the bush for a processional march, which represents at the same time the floundering of the ancestral beast through which the primeval mud and also the rope by which it was drawn onto dry land by the human companion. This is what Freud meant by anal birth. I cannot help mentioning how often mythological themes find their explanations through dream interpretation. The story of the labyrinth, for example, is found to be re-representation of anal birth. The tortuous paths are the bowels, and the thread of Aradians is the umbilical cord. Mother is mold, mater, mutter in mud. The history of mankind goes from the natural cave to the artificial cave, from the underground cave to the above ground underground. Mr. and Miss Antobus are getting nowhere. The pyramid with its winding corridors and labyrinthine galleries inside is an artificial cave. The ziggurat, an artificial or architectural mountain with spiral stairs on the outside. The megalithic maze of Stonehenge or Karnak is an alternative architectural embodiment of the same idea. The palace is a labyrinth. King Lekengu of the Bakuba and his 800 wives. His palace is grounded by an impenetrable labyrinth of raffia screens, which the wives built and repaired. To reach the king, a visitor is passed from one guide to another. To be led through the maze of the palace was the nucleus of the city. The Cretan cities, their archetype was the labyrinth Troy. The archetypal city is the archetypal maze. The spiral is the entrails, and the entrails are the palace. The labyrinth or maze is also a dance, the dance of life. Then as all actions of mankind are but a labyrinth or maze, so let your dances be entwined. The Cretan labyrinth was the Aradians' dancing ground. After their victory, Theseus and the young Athenians danced a dance consisting of certain measured turnings and returnings imitative of the winding and twistings of the labyrinth. The mazes in medieval Europe called walls of Troy were the scene of dancing games called the Game of Troy. A penetration of the maze to win or capture a maiden. The Game of Troy, a military game of evolution by two groups or horseback. A mock battle of alternate fights and pursuit, just like the Cretan labyrinth, says Virgil. The Game of Troy is the siege of Troy to capture a maiden. The Trojans themselves danced the labyrinth dance as they pulled the Trojan horse inside their walls. That Trojan horse, which is itself another image of civilization, pregnant in its cavernous bowels with armed men, entered in the dream life of Balso Snell from the rear. The dance of life, the whole story of our wanderings in a labyrinth of error. The labyrinth of this world. We wandering in the wilderness. Israel, Aeneas and his band of brothers to find Rome. Brute and his band of brothers to find Britain. The band of pilgrims compact together in one ship to fly into the wilderness. From the face of the dragon, from England to New England. The Exodus is an initiation. The two brothers in Australian Aborigine totemic myths have two functions: to wander from place to place and to initiate young men. And their wanderings are imitated in the bush wandering of the newly circumcised young men. The Exodus is an initiation. The wandering is a rite of passage from Troy to New Troy, from England to New England, from the mother to the mother. We are getting nowhere, and the wandering is all in the mother. The chiringa which the initiate takes with him on the way, marked with the concentric maze patterns, symbolize and magically achieves the unity of the infant with the mother. Thus, they always stay where they were born, so that the individual compels by reality to eternal wanderings. In this life, supernatural form has never left his mother. The labyrinth of this world, Satan's labyrinth, this world as underworld, the inferno of Dante's wanderings, night with his manifold coils, ninefold coils, the meandering Stygian waters as the Cumaean gates at the mouth of Hades, a representation of the Cretan labyrinth. The labyrinthine cave in which we live is the world of the dead. The metropolis is an acropolis. The beehive tomb or treasure of Atreus, the circular dome, the home of Dis or Pluto, wealth and death. The tomb is the architectural prototype of palace and house. The ancestral grave, the layers and penates in the hearth, is the nucleus of the house. Every house is a house of Hades, and every city a city of Dis, marked like a Paleolithic cave with the sign of a labyrinth. The dream of a sleeping giant, the circulation in a labyrinth of elementary canals. The cave is a grave. This womb is tomb. We are not yet born, we are dead. The souls of children not yet born are the souls of ancestors dead. The underlying idea is the reincarnation of the public magicians among the Australian Aborigines. Fraser says, their most important task is to take charge of the sacred storehouse, usually a cleft in the rocks or a hole in the ground, where are kept the holy stones and sticks, the chiringa, with which the souls of all people, both living and dead, are apparently supposed to be, in a manner, bound up. Among the Meringian, the The most unifying concept of the whole clan ideology is that of the sacred water hole, in which reposes the spiritual unity of clan life. It is the fundamental symbol of clan solidarity. From it come all the eternal qualities, and to it those qualities return when they have been lived or used by members of the clan. The wanderings of the soul after death are prenatal adventures, a journey by water in a ship which is itself a goddess, to the gates of rebirth. In Veo, the newly dead man is believed to arrive before the entrance to a cave on the seashore, where he encounters a terrible female monster seen as a spider woman, man-devouring ogress, crab woman with immense claws, or a giant bivalvery mollusk clam, which when open resembles the female genital organ, and which shuts to devour. In front of the cave mouth is a maze-like design called the path, traced on the sacred sand by the monster. And the dead man approaches, she obliterates half of the design, and he has to restore it or else be devoured. The path is the same one that he has hidden and trodden many times in the ceremonial dances, and his knowledge of it proves him to be an initiate. After completing the design, he must tread its mazes to the threshold of the cave. We dwell in night, the dungeon like heaven, the id of our coffin, like the vaulted chamber in which the dead Egyptian kings lay, a representation of the heavens as a firmament or lid. The labyrinth is also a spreading tree, a cave, a rock, a tree deadly and poisonous. The tree spread over him its cold shadow. They bent down, they felt the earth, and again enrooting. Shot into many a tree, an endless labyrinth of woe. The tree of mystery, the tree of knowledge, Serpentina sapientia, pursuing matter through its infinite divisions, the serpentine deity with its wisdom of this world. For man has closed himself up till he sees all things through narrow chinks of his cavern. The cave is the self-enclosure of the self-imprisonment in a shell, the shellfishness of selfishness, the cave of separation in the self. Our cosmos is a cosmic shell, the mundane shell. The mundane shell is a vast concave earth, an immense hardened shadow of all things upon our vegetable earth, and 27 heavens and all their hells with chaos and ancient night and purgatory. It is a cavernous earth of labyrinthine intricacy, 27 idols and folds of opaqueness. In the shelfishness of selfishness, in the reluctance to be born, embryos we must be till we burst the shell, you ambient azure shell, and spring to life. The natural man is speaking in terms of conscious vision and imaginative seed. Just as the seed is a dry, sealed packet of solid matter, so the natural mind is a tight, shell-bounded shell of abstract ideas. And just as the seed is surrounded by a dark world which we see as an underworld. So the physical universe surrounds the natural man on all sides and is dark in the sense that he cannot see its extent in its underworld of the mind. The den of Urthona, the cave of Plato's Republic, the majority of seeds in nature die as seeds, and in human life all are natural men. All the timid are the stupid, and all the evil remain in the starlit cavern of the fallen mind, hibernating in the dormant winter night of time. They are embryos of life only, infertile seeds, and die within the seed world. The possibility of life within them remains in its embryonic form of abstract ideas, shadows, and dreams. Some of the dreams are troubled visions of the real world of awakened consciousness. Others are the nightmares of paralyzing horrors, which all minds in a stupor of inertia are a prey to. Here and there, a seed puts out its tentative shoots in the real world, and when it does so, it escapes from the darkness of burial into the light of immortality. Such a seed, however, would only have begun its development for a vegetable life, is not the most highly organized form of life, because it is still bound to nature. The animal symbolizes a higher stage of development by breaking its navel string, and this earth-bound freedom of movement is represented in our present physical level. The bird is not a higher form of imagination than we are, but its ability to fly symbolizes one, and men usually assign wings to what they visualize as superior forms of human existence. In this symbolism, the corresponding image of nature would be neither the seedbed of the plant nor the suckling mother of the mammal, but the egg, which has been used as a symbol of the physical universe from the most ancient times. In blank, the firmament is the mundane shell, the indefinite circumference of the physical world through which the mind crashes on its winged descent to reality. To the inexperienced eye, the egg appears to be a geometrical stone, but the imagination within the egg soon demonstrates that it is something much more fragile. The same is true of the Newtonian universe. The rock rolled against the tomb of divine humanity. In the cave of separateness, the self curls up in sleep. In the mundane shell of the unborn sleep, the human condition is that of Albion. At the beginning of Jerusalem, the sleep of Euro. The sleep is uterine regression, a reactivation of the intrauterine situation. Our relationship with the world which we entered so unwillingly seems to be endurable only with intermission. Hence, we withdraw periodically into the condition prior to our entrance into the world. That is to say, into the intrauterine existence. 1/3 of us has never been born at all. The underworld cave is the cave of sleep and dreams. Aeneas comes back up by the gate of dreams. In the ancient world, disturbed persons went for a dream and a cure to the cave of Trophonius, like Paleolithic man. At the cave of Trophonius, the dreamer was swaddled like an infant, and then descended by a ladder to a cave, and then crawled through a narrow passage where it can barely squeeze through, and is finally drawn, as it were, into a whirlpool. The psychoanalytic season is an improved maternal womb in which the patient incubates. The cave of dreams and the cave of the dead are the same cave, Ghosts are dreams, and dreams are ghosts. Shades, umbre, sleep is regressive. In dreaming, we return to dream time, the age of heroes and ancestors. Rome's eternal one of the dream. Or the primal parents and the idea of reincarnation. The father finds his child in a dream, finds the child pre-existent in spirit or ancestral form in some cave or waterhole, where life is still within the cave and we still unborn. The beginning of life is not exit from the womb, but entry into the cave, the descent of the soul into the world of matter, the world of generation. When Empedocles says we have come down into this rooted cave, this roofed cave, rooted, roofed and rooted cave, he is referred to the moment of reincarnation. Life is seen as beginning, not as birth, but at conception. The life of the individual is identified with the seed of life, or with his father's penis. The spirit child seen in his dream is his own. The spirit children called their prospective mother's vagina rock hole. When they say, I'm going into a rock hole, they intended to be born. Porphyry says that souls proceeding into generation are nymphs ready for marriage. The pleasure of sex is the honey in the bowl by which they are seduced and fall into the world of generation. So too in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the compulsion to be reborn takes the form of sexual attraction, the attraction to the mother's womb. The men of the primitive tribe behave as though the birth of the boy out of his mother was because of the erotic attraction between him and her. The first act of the individual is incest with his mother. Copulation is uterine regression. The purpose of the sex act can be none other than an attempt to return to the mother's womb. The sex act achieves this transitory regression in a threefold manner. The whole organism attains this goal by purely hallucinatory means, somewhat as in sleep. The penis, with which the organism as a whole has identified itself, attains it partially or symbolically, while only the sexual secretion itself possesses the prerogative as representative of the ego and its narcissistic double, the genital of attaining in reality to the womb of the mother. Birth, copulation, and death equated. The basic structure of the dream. The basic dream is a reaction to being asleep. And we can distinguish three stages in this basic dream. Sleep is death. Sleep is uterine regression. Sleep is coitus. The crux is the equation of coming out and going in, forward and backwards, progression and regression, life and death. Birth is to come out of a womb and to go into a womb. For flinging oneself into the water, red coming out of the water. The birth of the hero is the death of the hero. In dreams, as in mythology, the delivery of a child from the uterine waters is commonly represented by a way of distortion as the entry of the child into water. Sleep is both uterine regression and emergence into a new world. A soul leaves body, being born. The dream body follows, while it is going in, is at the same time coming out of the womb.